Good morning. I'm with Andrew Gibson,
Hi.
international advisor of Spa and Wellness. Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well, Mark. Thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too
Not too
bad.
bad.
At least it's sunny here. What is going on in the world of wellness and spa, Andrew?
I think, well, that's a very
Right
big
question.
question. To sum up in a couple of minutes, the world of spa and wellness is almost going through another evolution of that word spa. It's evolving into the word wellness. And that is something that you see in the media everywhere today, worldwide phenomena. Everybody's requesting something to do with wellness. The issue is, I think people are not quite sure what that means. And when people are not sure what that means, it's probably alluding to the fact that how do you make money out of it? Where is the money angle on it? But yes, we're seeing quite a diversity. It's really good. I'm very, very pleased personally for that. The requests I'm getting from my clients is exactly that. We want wellness. Now, what does that mean?
No, I mean, you've got clients in Saudi, in Greece, in Dublin. Talk about a little bit about the business model of wellness, because particularly in hotels, because so many hotels they've opened spas. Often they don't making money. It's a drain. What have you got to say about that?
That's always it's been one of my challenges in the spa industry for the last 20 years of having general managers saying, well, spas don't make money. Well, actually, spas do make money. It's a question of how do you manage the business and how much support do you give them? And probably the most important thing is how do you measure that success? And I think that's the biggest question now as we get into wellness is how do you measure the success of wellness? And I think that comes across in two particular ways. One is the obvious one that everybody focuses on, and that's the profit as assessed by the money that's made. But the second one is the contribution to the overall sort of wellness of the company, the benefit of the company. And that's a little bit more intangible. So I think if we look at it, and I think is the easiest simple answer to give you, and a very good answer because Neil's going to be speaking more at the actual conference, is to look at the room rates on Ibiza and just compare Six Senses room rates to any other five-star hotel in Ibiza, and look at Six Senses. They haven't started that long ago there. Their room rates are incredibly high. And that's because they are overall wellness, and people are prepared to pay for that when they are going to stay somewhere. Most of my clients are asking for wellness. So I've got a group in Greece that used to be or still are all-inclusive five-star holidays, and they do that really, really well. But their clients are asking for more wellness activities, more wellness in the guest rooms. And so we're now in a process of describing what that means. That doesn't always mean providing pay for services. It means providing healthy food in the restaurants, providing activities, integrating children into the family activities so that there are plenty of things for people to do whilst they're there that gives them an opening to understand how they can live a better quality life.
So I should butt in and say that Andrew is interviewing or having a conversation with Neil Jacobs at Six Senses at the
Correct.
forthcoming World Spa and Wellness Convention in London. It's the 3rd and 4th of March. It's at London Excel. And if you're thinking of booking, want more information, go to worldsparwellness.com. Worldsparwellness.com. You'll find the information there and the speakers. And this year, actually, we've got typically it's a 2-day program, Sunday and Monday. We've got an extra half day, which you're helping again with interviewing Lindsay or having a chat with Lindsay Madden-Nadeau.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to do that. One, because Lindsay and I, as you know, worked together with Accor for a number of years. And basically, Lindsay was the person that made me look good. So I'm really looking forward to it. And now, with her position and her access to the global influences of wellness, it's going to be very exciting to hear what she has to say and what her plans are and how that sort of filters out as a sort of example to the rest of the world of what can be accomplished.
No, indeed. And we have these at the convention. So we have this sort of high level topics where wellness as a strategy to boost tourism. But the fundamental aspect of the conference is really how I can attend and take back practical learnings to put in my spa straight away or my
Yeah.
hotel straight away. That is what we want. We have short, sharp presentations. It's a discussions. It really is a forum where people can instantly get information, very practical, no navel gazing. I mean, you've been there a few years, you're a loyal visitor. What would you say to anybody thinking of coming along?
Well, two things. One is that the networking is incredible, and I have always made it a feature of myself when I attend to make myself available for anybody that wants to come and talk to me. So I think this is for anybody that's in the industry, particularly the people that are new to the industry. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. Come up and speak to people like myself and the other speakers that will be attending. It's a great opportunity to network. So that's the first one. And secondly, I've got to say, and hats off to Jean-Guy as well, you've got a fantastic lineup this year. Wow, you've got some really experienced professionals. So me, myself, I'm looking forward to coming and learning a lot from other people there. It's great to see the people that you've got and the wisdom, the collective wisdom they have. So I think those two reasons alone, apart from obviously the exhibition and all the new suppliers and new things that are happening, but just to get to meet people, and I think that's probably for me the biggest benefit is just to network, to bounce my ideas off of what I'm thinking about with my colleagues that have got the experience to see if we're on the right track.
Thank you. And we do try, our focus is on the people that do, i.e., the people active in the spa and wellness and hospitality business. We have the spa directors, it's dominated by people. And whether they're a big hotel group or an individual spa, large spa, small spa, that's what we want on the platform.
Well, I think last year, Mark, it's interesting. I had a young intern that she was looking for a placement, and I said, "Well, come along to the show, and I'll introduce you to a few people." She had six senses: Mandarin Oriental,
Sites.
Rosewood. She had about 10 of the leading people that she was able to speak to the decision makers straight away and introduce herself and speak to these people that gave her a few minutes and an exchange of information and enough contact to reach out to. Just imagine that intern, the opportunities that had for her in coming to that meeting and doing that. And I think that's where, if you are a young spa director or somebody, or you're looking for a move, or you're looking to learn a little bit more about how you can influence your managers, then this is the kind of show to come to and just take a couple of minutes speaking to people. I know most of my colleagues are like me. They don't mind spending a couple of minutes talking to somebody and getting to understand where their angle is.
No, yeah, that's good. And I think a lot of people who are perhaps just starting out feel a bit nervous, but it is that sort of meeting where
Yeah.
everybody does share, and we
Yeah.
do very much encourage that. Tell me, one of the things we were chatting briefly beforehand is the topics that I know you and Neil are interested in is longevity, and
Yes.
everybody is. You hear so much media hype about this. How do you think that spas and hotels can genuinely tap into that?
I think this is going to be a very interesting debate. Longevity is becoming a buzzword, I suppose. Wellness is still the buzzword. And every time you get a new word in there, there's an element of confusion, an element of definition that is required. We're still not there yet with wellness, by the way, on that, but now we've got longevity to contend with. Personally, I find the word longevity not the most useful words to describe what we're doing. I mean, you can have longevity and absolutely have a terrible quality of life. You know, and my grandfather, I think, died at the age of 96 and was still smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, and had done all his life. So you can have longevity without quality of life, whereas wellness does imply that actually you're taking active measures to improve the quality of life. So I think you probably want a combination of both longevity and wellness. That's where I'm at. Also, longevity what I'm seeing on the embryos of what I'm seeing is slightly more on the scientific side of it, the measurement and quantifying it, and trying to have, in many ways, quick fixes, the elixir of being able to have, just do this. It's the easy route out. And I'm not quite so sure about that. So I think there's a lot of discussion on this topic. The one thing that's for sure, the word isn't going to go away. It's going to be featured more and more, and it's a question of them making definitions. I think the hotel industry have got enough things to actually contend with without having to think about how do we embrace longevity. I think the hotels are trying now very much, particularly the big corporations, are trying to figure out whether the spa itself is worthwhile in a hotel. That's primarily due to the labor costs now. So they're looking at alternatives there. There's a lot of pressure from investment companies and owners to be able to get the return per square meter. So they're questioning the value of spa. This is where wellness comes into play a little bit more because, and this is something I would say for spa directors, I'll come back to that in a minute, but wellness plays a little bit more because wellness expands beyond the boundaries of the physical entity of a sauna, a steam room, as treatment rooms and fitness. Wellness extends to the entire hotel. And by that, I mean it comes in from design, it comes in from the wellness in the guest rooms, it comes in from wellness for employees. Absolutely critical. If you want to have wellness for employees, that's one way of making success for the guests. Happy employees equals happy guests. Now, to come back to my bit on spa directors, I think spa directors, the next evolution of that is become a part of the executive committee as a wellness director. Because when you're part of the executive committee as wellness director, which some hotels are starting to look at doing that, you now take on the mantle of working with HR to make employee wellness a thing and make it true. And you also take on the mantle of thinking about how to extend wellness into the food and beverage and into the guest rooms and into the public spaces. And those are things that are critical. It's quite interesting. I'm working for a client in the GCC states. I don't particularly want to mention which one of the GCC, but they are creating a new hotel brand. And I'm just a small part of this process. But my small part has expanded that wellness has now become one of the major pillars of that group. They're saying, and it extends to employee wellness, it extends to design and energy consumption, and of course, all of the factors within the hotel. So much so that we've created a wellness charter and a sustainability charter for that group. And that will ride through every single hotel and becomes mandatory in their new properties that they open. So there is a shift. There is a big shift. It's quite exciting. And how does it get measured?
An opportunity for people in the business to
Absolutely
their influence across the whole business, not just
to give them a career path, and a recognized entity. And I think that's worth them bringing to the table. Spa directors, if they want to stay with the company they're in and they want to expand, that's a very good route to awaken up. Question, of course, will come back to the thing that we almost started with. How do you measure that? How do you measure that success? And I think you've got to get beyond the profit and loss of each department and look at the overall spend per guest, which is something, a few of my colleagues mention, is that instead of measuring it by ADR, you measure it by guest revenue and total spend per guest. And I think that will reflect in it. But you also have to have qualitative measures. Lower turnover of staff is one, those kind of parameters as well. We'll measure it in terms of it. Also, I guess one aspect would be repeat guests. Now that's difficult if you're a business hotel, it is to do that and to keep repeat guests. But if you've got a good leisure mix and they are going to choose your hotel to come in because of the way that you look after them throughout their entire experience, that's a measure of success.
Indeed.
So interesting times.
You mentioned obviously career paths. Staff continues to be an issue across the world. I know you're going to be discussing that and staff shortages with Neil, but any learnings that you could briefly share with us now?
Learnings. I'm not sure if they're learnings, but observations. One is, of course, now the not only has there been a shift in the notion of how much time people spend working in the service industries, and their reluctance to want to commit full-time work to that. Secondly, I'll give you a clear example. Singapore. Singapore, I think, had 5 training schools to train therapists. So they have 5 pre-COVID. Post-COVID, they have 1. So just imagine now the stress on the whole industry of finding trained professionals in Singapore. And that's not just Singapore, I mean, the whole world. So I think what I'm seeing is that, as I said just a moment ago, the big hotels are looking at the value of whether they should have a spa in their facility or not. They're looking at AI. They're looking at technology and seeing whether technology can replace the human factor. We've already seen that in other parts of the hotel where you're now sort of reducing the overheads as much as you possibly can, outsourcing arrangements. And I see you'll see more of that. Now, I believe that in a 5-star hotel, the difference between the hotels, because they're all good, all 5-star hotels are good. They wouldn't be 5 stars if they weren't good. The difference is the people that work in there. And that's going to become more and more important, is how do you provide not just salary, but how do you provide wellness for your employees? And how do you provide a ethos and a culture that makes people want to come to work for you? Because 5-star hotels rely on their people, because their people, they know the service and the attention that those people give to their guests keeps not only the guests happy, but makes them come back to your hotel. So that's the difference. And I think that you will see the really good hotels will put more and more benefits and focus on the culture of the employment for their people, so that they become places of choice for people to work. I think that the real struggle will become in the 3 to 4-star brands that really say, well, do we need a spa? Don't we need a spa? And if we do need a spa, how fewer staff can we actually have in it to make it work? Can we get away with doing some of the automated treatments and automated focus? Very interesting example, Mark. I went to a club in Stockholm, and it's owned by somebody extremely well known in the business. And this club has 1 employee.
Wow.
You go in, everything is done by face recognition. You book online for your cryotherapy treatment or your red light treatment or the gym or whatever. Everything's booked online. There's no markings on the entrance. You just have face recognition that will open the door. You go to your assigned area. It's all face recognition there. You've booked in. You've done your treatment. It's finished. You go out. There's a lounge. It's not like it's all antisocial. There's lounges and places to be, but it's all self-attended. And this 1 employee just basically clears up after you've left and gets it ready.
And was that busy? Was it success? Is it successful business?
It's very successful. It's in the right environment. It's in the right environment, and it's selling to the right kind of people. It's, this is not for everybody. But yes, it was successful, and it is an interesting case study in where you can go to the extreme.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's those type of examples we discuss very hands-on at the convention, 3rd and 4th of March, worldspawellness.com if you're interested. Andrew, look forward to seeing you in just over a month's time.
I'm looking forward to being there. Very much looking forward to catching up with everybody. It's always a great show. And also looking at the actual World Spa Awards, which has had, in the categories I've been judging, has had some great new entries and some great discussions in the judging panels.
Well, yes, indeed. We have those on the evening of the 3rd of March as well. So again, safe travels. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you. And look forward to seeing everybody there.